Okay.
Hi there, everyone. How's everybody doing out there tonight? Sorry about that. My mother was in here, so I want to apologize for that. Um, this week's episode is going to be about Madusa, aka Alundra Blayze. Um, just want to give you guys a heads up that over the next couple of weeks, I will be diving deeper into women's wrestling. So hope you tune in for that. Um, but tonight it's going to be about um, Madusa. Um, she was a pioneer of women's wrestling. She really was a face of women's wrestling over the last few years. She got her start back in 1984, and she lasted well throughout the 1990s, and she she won numerous championships, and yes, she won the cruiserweight championship in WCW, but she she really she really she really was a vocal point of women's wrestling, and she brought it every night. So yeah, that her career was very revolutionary. So yeah, but in any event, let's go on and get started. Medusa, got my notes here. Medusa, Medusa, aka Debra Miceli, is a wrestling pioneer. She had the pleasure of inducting the very first woman into the WWE Hall of Fame in 1995, which was Moolah. She was one hell of a wrestler in her time and became a former WWE Women's Champion over time. But WWE wasn't the only promotion she worked for. She also worked for WCW, NWA, and wrestled independently. This week on Wrestling Quick Takes, I will be talking about the career of Madusa, plus some of her best matches and her most iconic moments. So let's do it. Madusa's career. The career of Madusa began in 1984, working the independent circuit. According to BleacherReport.com, the epic journey of Debra Miceli in the 1980s as Madusa, which was short for May in the USA, is would be one of great proportion. She was born in Italy and raised in Minnesota in foster homes. When she became fond of wrestling, she began working every chance she could, working in the independent circuit in 1984. A woman with dreams to make it in the wrestling world began her quest in the American Wrestling Association, AWA. Would be in that very promotion. It would be in that very promotion where Madusa would earn her first women's championship in December of 1987 in the prominent gambling and partying city, Las Vegas. The great, the great Sherry Martel was the last AWA Women's Champion and vacated the title as she departed to a fast-growing World Wrestling Federation. So let us fast forward to her last days in WWE. The company brought in Bull Nakano from Japan to feud with her. The two women would have a bitter rivalry that resulted in the end Nakano earning a shot at Blayze's Women's Championship at the 1994 SummerSlam. Nakano was defeated, but the feud went on. Alundra Blayze's reign would last through the rest of the summer and most of the fall before Nakano ultimately defeated her in Japan in November of 1994. She regained the title in spring of the next year on Monday Night Raw, once again pinning Nakano. Blayze triumphed, emerging victorious in the feud, but a new one was formed following an attack by Bertha Faye, who attacked her after she defeated Nakano. Blayze lost the belt at SummerSlam to Faye, but regained it 2 months later in November to earn her third and final WWF Women's Championship. She she was stripped shortly after as she was once again jumped as she once again jumped ship to the rival promotion WCW for a second stint where she would end her wrestling career. Miceli had seen her last days in the WWF, but she was still made in the USA upon her return to WCW. Instead of 2 years, she spent her last six there. So let's back up here. Her career got started back in the 1980s. She was working for an independent circuit, and she was not making any money whatsoever to get by. But she worked, and she she started gaining popularity. And one day, Vince called her, and from there, the rest is history. And so once she left, you know, the independent circuit, she went to first AWA. She started making it big there. Um, and then from there, she went she went on to the WWE, and she became a household name, and she won the championship. Then after that, she she went to WCW, where she would spend the last 6 years of her career, and she did it. She won it all. She became the future of women's wrestling. One of the one of the best faces of that time. Medusa's best matches. Normally, I would give you a list of matches with some background information, but this time I will give you just a list. So here's some of my favorite Medusa matches, beginning with number one. Number one, Madusa versus Luna Fashion. Alundra Blayze versus Bertha Faye. Madusa versus Bull Nakano. Madusa versus Evan Courageous. Madusa versus Rhonda Sy. Madusa versus Kimberly. Madusa versus Cher Martel. Normally, I would do it with some background information, but I couldn't really find any, so I just made you all a list. Medusa's legacy. You cannot talk about women's wrestling without the name Medusa. Her name remains synonymous in the history of women's wrestling. Even to this day, Medusa never took a backseat to anybody. What began in 1984 ended in the year 2000. She didn't hold anything back at all. According to Legacy of Wrestling, Medusa has held world titles in two major American organizations and nearly won a third. Miceli was schooled in both professional wrestling and in martial arts. Miceli in 1999 became the first woman to hold the WCW World Cruiserweight title on December 27th, 1987 in Las Vegas. Miceli beat Candy Devine in a tournament final to capture the vacant AWA Women's World title. In late 1991, Madusa joined the Dangerous Alliance with Paulie Dangerously when the World Wrestling Federation reactivated the women's world title in 1993. Miceli entered the tournament under the name Alundra Blayze. On December 13th in, in Poughkeepsie, Blayze beat Heidi Lee Morgan in the final to capture the world championship. She lost the belt after nearly a year of holding it in November 1994 to Bull Nakano in Tokyo. During Monday Night Raw on April 3rd, 1995, Blayze regained the championship after the match. The new champ was attacked by Bertha Faye. The Harvey Whippleman product took the world title from Blayze on the August 27th in Pittsburgh. Blayze regained the title for a third time on October 23rd with a win over Faye. Miceli jumped ship in one of the recent times most memorable double crosses. On December 18th, 1995, Alundra Blayze appeared at the very beginning of World Championship Wrestling's live airing of Monday Nitro on TNT. With her was the WWF Women's Championship belt, a belt that went into the trash. Madusa Madusa was back. The maneuver The maneuver stunned fans and shocked promoters. Organizers quickly began to work on a women's division in WCW. A tournament was planned, but instead, a single match determined the first champion. At Starrcade 1996, Madusa lost to Akira Hokuto by pinfall. After a loss to Hokuto at the Great American Bash 1997 in Moline, Miceli was forced to retire. Madusa returned to the ring to wrestling action in 1999. On December 19th in Washington, D.C., Miceli beat Evan Courageous to capture the World Cruiserweight Championship. She lost the title to WCW official Oklahoma on January 16th, 2000. In Cincinnati, she returned to help Billy Kidman in his war with Shane Douglas and Torrie Wilson. The four had a memorable Scarfold match on pay-per-view. Miceli continued to work for WCW, training the organization's youth backstage. Madusa has always been one of the sport's toughest females. She would take down a number of males too. In a shooting wrestling society, Madusa would probably dominate the women's world title until the day she decided to retire. Madusa has seen it all and done it all. Her legacy leaves an impact that we have felt in a long time since China. I believe that if she was still wrestling today, she would make a hell of a women's champion. Yeah, so her legacy is is basically what she did, not only in the ring, but outside of it. She trained the youth, she built them up, she got them up to speed, and then from there, the rest was history. By the way, she's responsible, I think, for Molly Holly being who she is. Finally, what is Madusa doing today? According to WrestleJoy.com, Madusa retired from active competition in 2001. She would later join the world of monster truck driving and racing before reconnecting with the wrestling world. In 2015, she became the commissioner of World of Wonder stardom. Madusa was also able to rebuild her relationship with WWE, which led to her induction into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2015. She also would step into the ring for the first time since retiring when she competed in a battle royal at WWE Evolution. Other part-time appearances for WWE would follow, including a brief run as 24/7 champion in 2019. Madusa would later make an appearance at an All Elite when she hosted AEW's Women's Tag Team Cup tournament. The Deadly Draw. To this very day, Madusa is a name that fans are familiar with. She took her bumps and bruises and came back for more. Madusa or Alundra Blayze still gains the respect and gratitude from fans all over the world. And at the end of the day, she will be known as one of the best to ever do it. Well, that's all for this week. And until next time, God bless. So, Madusa, basically, she was the epitome of toughness. I mean, she wasn't afraid to, you know, give you a kick in the ass. She wasn't afraid to let you know if something was good, if something was bad. I mean, she was tough. She never she never took a backseat to anybody. She never took, you know, any she never took no for an answer. And because of that, that is why she's in the Hall of Fame. And of course, you could find her doing race car or monster truck. So that was pretty sweet. All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for this episode. Next week, I believe it's going to be about Lita, aka Amy Dumas, better known as Lita. So be sure to follow me on Twitter. And if you hadn't already, please like, comment, subscribe, and share the video whenever you get a chance. So I I would greatly appreciate it. I mean, your feedback means the world to me. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for this episode, guys. And until next time, God bless.